Hello everyone, you tuned into Bibliophile Station and welcome to our YouTube channel, Book Beavers. In today's video, we're going to yet another bookstore in Delhi. So let's dive right in. The bookstore for today is the Bookshop. Started in 1971 by K.D. Singh, it continues to be a heaven for bookworms even 51 years down the line. Located in Bagh area of Delhi, this cozy bookshop is as aesthetically pleasing to the eyes as warm to the heart. To understand its lineage, legacy, and of course the literature, we had a chat with the co-owner of the store, wherein we even touched upon the topic of readership evolution in recent times. Hi ma'am, what's your good name?
I'm Sonal Narayan.
How long have you been working here?
I've been working here for 21 years now.
Okay, can you please tell me about the history of this bookstore and how it started?
So this bookshop was started in 1971 by a gentleman named Mr. K.D. Singh.
Okay.
That's him up there.
Oh.
So he had a great love for books. He started actually this next door food gourmet store with a friend of his. But he had a small rack of books always because he was very, very fond of books. And when this shop became available for rent, he immediately took it up and set it up. So yes, that's how it began. And he later also opened an additional store in Khan Market, which was there for a good 20 years before we shut that and we were just here. So that's the history of the bookshop, and it has evolved over the years in terms of collection, but the basic values of the store have remained the same in terms of bringing good literature to the residents of the city.
That's great. Being one of the oldest bookstores in Delhi, I'm sure there are many people who've been coming here for years now. Do you have any interesting stories to share about regular people who come here? Or
Lots of people do that. We have third generation readers coming here.
Wow.
So the grandmothers were there, and then the mothers, and now the young children who are also quite grown up now. So it's a place that has been like a sort of extended family to a lot of people in the city. And we don't like to share stories because we believe that this is a safe space, and anybody who comes in here, whatever they talk about, whatever they do, remains here. So we don't really barter stories about it. But yes, the bookshop has, I'm not sure if you know, Arundhati Roy is a very regular customer here. Deepa Mehta, when she's in town, will always visit here. Dr. Karan Singh is in and out of here. So the store has a very illustrious clientele as well as a lot of young people.
Okay, so as many people who visit the store, do you find any differences in the general readership of people belonging to different age groups? Because as you just said that, you have a clientele which ranges from younger generation to the older. There are generations coming here. For example, there can be differences in the kinds of book they read, so they're reading patterns. Have you noticed anything like that?
Of course, there's a huge difference in what the very young read today. They are more politically and socially aware readers. So they want to read about Dalit literature, they want to read about queer rights, they want to read about the politics of our times. So they are a very aware readership. And of course, there's a lot of young people who are into the fantasy and YA genre, which we don't cater to, but otherwise everything else. And the older people are more settled into their way of reading, which they grew up with. So a lot of comfort reading, old established English writers. So there's that huge difference for sure.
Okay. And the recent times saw a great shift from the real to the virtual world in every sphere of life. So how do you think it has affected the reading culture or the bookstore in general?
The reading culture, if anything, has grown in the pandemic years. That has been at least our observation, because people had time to reflect, to think, and I think they wanted to take out more time just for themselves rather than being in a rat race. So we definitely feel that the reading culture, if anything, has increased in the last couple of pandemic years. As for the bookshop, while we were only reliant on walk-in customers earlier, during the pandemic we moved our presence in a huge way on social media platforms, which led to us now having an India-wide presence. So we have customers from all over the country, and we ship books all over the country, which we weren't doing actively earlier. The service was there, but we just weren't very active about it, because we were very happy with the way we were carrying on. But the pandemic, of course, made us realize that we can't depend on people to come in, which they weren't really doing.
Talking about the shift, how do you think the shift from paperbacks to soft copies has affected the...
So, to a certain extent, yes, it does. For ease of convenience, for the paucity of space in today's time, people do like to have an e-reader. But and they will buy stuff which is like your quick reads. They will buy it on Kindle because they don't want to have a copy occupying space in their house. But as far as good literature is concerned, and books that you want to go back to over and over again, people will always want a physical copy. And because this is a very small store, it's a highly curated store, so we largely keep things which you would want to come back to.
The good literature.
The good literature, at the cost of sounding like a snob, but yes.
Okay, lastly, what are your visions for carrying forward the legacy of this bookstore?
So I think just carrying forward day to day is the best one can hope for.
Yeah, true.
Rather than have larger visions which may not come to pass.
Thank you, ma'am. It was great talking to you. Thank you for having us over.
Thank you.
We hope you loved the video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back with more books, baatein and bachpan ki yaadein. Till then, let's all keep chanting one last chapter.